Welcome to episode 63 of the Backlot 605 podcast. I'm Casey Kelderman. Join with me is Mr. Coffee.
Coffee?
Coffee, Mr. Brian Mensing.
How's it going?
It's all right.
I'm usually the one that introduces myself.
I know, but you were coughing when I was going to throw it off to you.
Okay.
And we are not restarting this because we're doing it. We're just going to do it. I don't care. How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah, it's going.
It's been a long day.
It has. It's going to be even longer because we're talking Michael Bay movies.
And why are we talking Michael Bay movies?
I don't know. Well, one of the reasons is Bad Boys for Life came out, though Michael Bay did not direct this film.
No.
He is in the film. Producer credit, I'm assuming. You saw the movie.
I did see the movie.
And yeah, he did the first two movies. This is his baby, so I think it was only fitting that we talked about Michael Bay movies this week. We already did a Will Smith episode.
I was going to say this week. And you and I talked about it. It's like, let's do Martin. Well,
let's do a Martin Lawrence episode where Casey gushes about Wild Hogs for 2 hours.
Sure.
Yeah, Wild Hogs.
You would just be fawning over John Travolta anyway.
He's so good in that movie. No, I'm kidding. He's really bad in that movie. Guilty pleasure, though, Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs does fall under guilty pleasure.
Hell yeah. Yeah, what'd you find out about Michael Bay? Producer? I'm assuming. Dead air.
No.
No? What?
He's not on the producer credits, at least not on IMDb.
Not executive producer?
Nothing? No, but he is on A Quiet Place Part 2.
Well, whatever. We are counting this as a Michael Bay style movie.
It definitely is in the style of, but it is definitely dialed back.
Less Bayhem than usual?
Very much less Bayhem.
All right, so let's start it off then. We're going to talk Bad Boys for Life because that is number one at the box office this weekend. Bad Boys for Life, $59.1 million, taking the number one spot. Very good opening weekend for this movie here in January, and being a third film in a franchise that hasn't had a movie since 2003.
Correct. But it's almost like they live for that now because there are 3 films in the franchise that spans 25 years.
Because the first one was, 95?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Which, one of the questions that came up, and I went do some digging and whatnot, was that, why January? January is usually like the dumping ground and whatnot for some films and whatnot. But once every, millennia that when Bad Boys comes out with a movie, it's always been January. So it's living exactly where it's supposed to be, I guess. And obviously the numbers say that people are going to go see a Bad Boys movie in January.
Yeah, I think the chemistry between the two is still as strong as ever. I think that's the reason people went to watch this. It was just Will Smith, Martin Lawrence back together, Bad Boys.
And Joey Pantoliano as the captain.
Is anyone going to see the movie for that, though?
For the sake of the chemistry of those 3 is what I'm saying. But no, you're absolutely correct.
General audiences don't care who
the
he
main
is.
2.
Yeah.
I don't know. The captain's amazing.
He is amazing. I thought he's the best part of the first 2 terrible movies. But I do think the chemistry is great. That is one reason I would see this movie.
Yes.
It's because I do think those 2 together are perfect.
And I do think that the new faces that are brought into this and some of the returning faces from the previous movies, definitely nothing. There isn't really a weak performer in terms of they all do their justice where they need to be. Obviously some performances are better than the other and whatnot, but just overall this definitely looks like the kind of movie that they just had fun making. And the way it's pretty much between the box office and the way the movie is, with no spoilers intended, it won't be 15 years before we get another Bad Boys.
It'll be 2 years.
Which is upsetting because if we're going to get a Bad Boys 4, they totally burned the title that they should have been using for Bad Boys 4.
Well, they can still use it. Just do Bad Boys 4, Life.
Oh, Jesus.
Do it.
No.
Yep. Yeah, they kind of did burn their title.
But
I would not put it past them if they include the 4 forever or something like that.
Something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they lost the ability to kind of pull the Fast and the Furious with the titles and whatnot, and
cross it over already. Do it. Cross it over. We need Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in a Fast and the Furious movie.
I don't know if Sony and Universal would play nice like that.
They wouldn't. Number 2, Doolittle, $22.5 million. Did very little.
They did do little.
Right. So this is probably going to be throughout the entire year of 2020 the biggest box office flop.
Not yet. It's up to 18%.
No, box office flop.
Oh.
It was a $175 million budget before marketing.
Oh, I get what you're putting
and made
down.
$22 million. But yes, also a flop at the critic score with, what'd you say, 18?
18. But the audience on Rotten Tomatoes has it at 76.
What do audiences know?
Talk about polar though.
Polar bear.
But hey, I'm still wishing that I would see some sort of invisible joke from a polar bear in that movie.
Maybe there is. Are you
I
going to
hope
find
so.
out?
Maybe not right away.
Yeah. I have heard nothing but bad things about this. Every person that I've seen a review from or that has seen the movie says it's not good. Like, really not good. Robert Downey Jr. is a completely different movie than everybody else. The CGI is not finished, from what I've heard. And yeah, I've heard it's just very much a step back in the wrong direction for Robert Downey Jr., for the property of Doolittle. I heard it's pretty much fart jokes and with the talking animals. I'm like, okay.
Because how well did the Eddie Murphy ones do?
I like those movies. Oh, I haven't seen them in 20 years, but I liked them from what I remembered of them. I think they were not trying to be a $175 million blockbuster like this Doolittle was, like this big sweeping adventure, from which I understand is not really what this movie is about, a giant sweeping adventure. But yeah, number 2 this week, not Dr. Doolittle, Doolittle.
Just Doolittle. Just a side note, Doolittle 2 with Eddie Murphy, 42.26.
Oh, what's the first one? It said that doesn't count, the second one. There's like 6 of those in that franchise.
There's only 2.
No, like his daughter takes over after that.
Oh, those don't count.
They count. If the American Pie spin-offs count, those count.
I clicked on the wrong one, but this is old Doolittle, and it's a 3057, and that's not even the Eddie Murphy one. What is this? 1967. So what they're saying is that the franchise itself in general just does not have a
probably doesn't adapt well to screen.
Must not.
Yeah. Maybe animated. Maybe you just got to go animated next time there, Universal. Number 3 this week, Universal's sticking around there. 1917, $22.1 million. Just behind Doolittle. This movie's still making pretty good money at the box office. I think word of mouth is helping out with this movie.
At like 500 less theaters than Doolittle, and just squeaking just behind it, too. That says something as well.
Here's the big news from the week, besides Bad Boys raking in at the box office.
What's that?
Jumanji: The Next Level tops Star Wars at the box office this week. Jumanji: The Next Level, number 4, $9.5 million. Blake made that prediction last week. He's like, is Jumanji going to pass Star Wars? Oh, it did.
Yeah. And it took a little bit less of a hit from the week previous, and it's been out a week longer.
And it's in more theaters than Star Wars. How crazy is that?
Well,
it came out, 1 week? I think it was 1 or 2 weeks before Star Wars did.
1 week.
Yeah. And it tops it now at the box office. I think that's troubling for Disney and their Star Wars property.
Yeah, well, it looks like just...
Positive for The Rock.
Yeah, well, it looks like here they only dropped about just under 600 for Jumanji, but they dropped over double that for the amount of theaters for Star Wars.
Yeah, it dropped 1,200 theaters for Star Wars in 1 week.
That's all the movie theaters dropping the screens because they're out of the contract for Disney and said, okay, fine, we don't need all these screens now. Let's put something else in here.
Let's put Doolittle.
And Doolittle.
Yeah, all right. Number 5, rounding off the box office here, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, $8.3 million, rounding off the top 5. Like I said, Disney is probably not too worried. I mean, it's still made almost $500 million here domestically.
Right.
So that's not too bad for this movie. But I think they were expecting, hey, this is going to be one of the highest grossing movies ever, end of the franchise type of movie, and it just It just isn't going to end up being that way.
No, but they're already over across $1 billion worldwide. I don't think Disney cares.
Yeah, I don't think they're too worried about it. I think they'll shift some things around, but they'll come back with this. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Disney will be all right. I'm not worried about them.
Nah, I'm pretty sure they made their money back, even with marketing.
All right. Speaking of Star Wars, we're going to jump to the news. Our first piece of news is a Star Wars related news.
It is?
It is, because
what is it?
Taika Waititi, the director of Jojo Rabbit and Thor Ragnarok, is in talks to direct a Star Wars film after doing an episode of The Mandalorian.
And being in The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and
he's been around the Disney property for a while.
Which tells me, he's already been around the Disney property. He's already been around all that and whatnot. Is what I picture seeing is a Taika-directed, Favreau-produced Star Wars film. Because, you figure The Mandalorian is the first thing that we've seen from Star Wars in a while that is
universally
good. Yeah. People like it. And The Mandalorian was like it's straight up space western. But that last episode that Taika did definitely, told Disney and told everybody, hey, you know what? I can do this.
This is the guy. I think we got to give him a chance here. Let him do.
I'm still trying to
one
wrap
of the next films.
As much as I absolutely love Taika and the fact that all the praise that Jojo Rabbit's been getting and everything like that, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea of the guy from What Lies in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do, yeah. Is getting all this.
The guy from Green Lantern.
We don't talk about that. Even Ryan Reynolds doesn't talk about that.
Yeah, I think this is if this ends up happening, I'm all for it. I would be super excited for it.
I'm the type of person now that for the sake of his body of work, I'll see anything that Taika does. He doesn't give me he has not given me a reason as of late to not like something that he has done.
And I think everything he does is just a little bit different than the last thing he did. None of his films that he's made are the same as each other. Well, maybe tonally a bit the same, but they're all very, very different.
Different context. Yeah, definitely. And how many people would go on screen to play Adolf Hitler themselves as an imaginary friend?
Trying to be a little charming as Adolf Hitler. That's why I think his flair would be perfect in the Star Wars universe, and
he's another reason I want to see Free Guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think this is a perfect choice to put behind the director's chair for a Star Wars movie. I wish they would just announce what the heck they're doing. Because they're talking about the Rian Johnson trilogy that's still supposed to happen. This Old Republic trilogy. Is it the Rian Johnson one? Are they going to do another one, a different trilogy? Are they doing the Obi-Wan? Are they doing any other spin-off movies?
And they're supposed
Kevin Feige's supposed to produce one.
And they're supposed to be, by 2022 or 21? I'm trying to remember when it is, that they're supposed to be interweaving them with every other Christmas being either Star Wars or Avatar. So something's going to have to start showing up here soon. I mean, I guess if they somehow figure out a way to be able to keep it completely under wraps to some point where the internet is just in the dark, okay. I mean,
what I'm hoping is by next Star Wars Celebration in May that they have a full-scale, like, Marvel timeline planned out. Hey, this is what we're doing Star Wars-wise from here, 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 here. Like Marvel does with their big, picture they put up in the hall.
That's why
D23.
That's why they're getting Feige. Hey Feige, can you make one of those maps for us so we can
you draw one of those for us? I don't want Kevin Feige in charge of it though.
He's got enough going on.
He's got a lot going on. Put Jon Favreau in charge of it, or Dave Filoni. One of those two, I think.
But that's what I'm saying. For the sake of like Taika directed, Favreau produced. Put Favreau in the Feige role for the sake of Star Wars, because like I said, he did a phenomenal job with The Mandalorian. Give him an opportunity to make something great. I mean, he's obviously proven that he understands basically the nerd culture of what the scope of some of these things need to be with Iron Man and everything he did for the MCU.
Yeah, I think it's keep that core Mandalorian group and let them continue to make the Mandalorian, but like give some of them the bigger properties. Let them do the feature films.
So is the feature going to be Bryce Dallas Howard?
Just get. I thought her episode was great.
Yeah,
that might be my favorite one of the first season.
Who would have thought you would have said that when you heard that her name was on the list?
Yeah, I think that's maybe the first thing she's ever directed, as far as what I've seen. I know that. But
yeah, I don't think it's the first, but I think it's probably the first you've seen.
Yeah, and I thought it was a great episode. So yeah, give these people a chance and let them build off what they set up in The Mandalorian. Not necessarily, we don't need a Mandalorian feature film, but keep that core creative group behind this. Yeah, but let's move on to the next piece of news here. Sticking in that Disney category, the Fox title that Disney has purchased from 20th Century Fox is no more. Rest in peace to 20th Century Fox and Fox Searchlight, because they have been rebranded as 20th Century Pictures and Searchlight Pictures. What do you think of this?
I'm okay. In just dinking around on the internet and whatnot, my only qualm would have been is the infamous fanfare. And from my understanding, that's staying intact. So does Fox necessarily need to be on it? No. I mean, as long as they're keeping the core of what the product was, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think it's a welcome choice that they keep these two titles.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done 20th Century Disney and Searchlight Disney.
Or they could have just absorbed them and dismantled the names altogether. Those last films in January could have been the last time you'd ever heard the fanfare.
Yeah. What, Jojo Rabbit would have been the last one?
Underwater?
Right around there? Underwater? Yeah. That would have sucked.
You're right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's cool that they're going to keep it. I mean, yeah, the fanfare is, of course, iconic.
Exactly.
You have to keep it. I think Disney knows that. And I think the taking the Fox out of it is just a kind of a semantics thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, you want it to still be a Disney thing. You've absorbed Fox, so you just got to rebrand it just a little bit. And I think this is probably the best way they could have gone about it.
I did see a meme out there earlier that somebody took a picture from the cover of The Fox and the Hound.
Disney has removed the Fox from every all their properties.
Yep. Gone. So all it just said was "and the Hound," and there was just the picture, and it literally looked like somebody took like white out.
Is Robin Hood just like naked now?
No, it's just Robin Hood. Robin Hood would be invisible because
John Cena's now playing Robin Hood.
Yeah, exactly, because he'd keep his Robin Hood look, but missing the fox.
Oh, that's fine. I know. I saw that meme too. I thought it was funny. Last piece of news. This is not funny at all. It's super serious.
And I'm okay with this, actually.
I'm on the fence about it. That is, Billie Eilish is set to do the Bond 25 theme song.
I'm completely okay with this. I think her style will lend to like the low-key type of songs that Bond is synonymous for. Yeah. They are, some of them are upbeat, but the vocals themselves are not usually like, I mean, even like Adele's and Sam Smith's, they've been very low-key songs. And I think that she would be able to pull it off. More than likely, her brother's going to come in to help her write it as well. And, between the both of them, they're both super talented individuals. And I think they're going to do a great job, actually.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
They might clean her up for the music video a little bit and get probably rid of like the bright green hair or something like that. Make her maybe a little bit more Bond-esque. But other than that, no. I mean, for the sake of her and the song and probably the writing, I'm okay with this.
I think it's all we got to get the younger crowd in here. I think that's what it is. Bond's for my dad.
No,
Bond's for my grandpa.
I stand by like what Blake said. Blake made the reference that if you look at the Bond songs in general, with the exception of a little bit here and there, it's more or less they're picking out of the current pool, basically. Like with Sam Smith and Adele. I think Garbage was maybe
Alicia
a little
Keys.
bit. Alicia Keys, Jack White. Garbage was a little bit late to the game. But just some of those ones, I mean, even of the modern songs and whatnot, I think it's more or less you're pulling from who's going to draw the attention. more than it's who is, we're not going to have Celine Dion, kind of thing.
You should.
Well, I'm sorry. After Ashes, you're not wrong either.
The best Bond song in the last 20 years.
What, the Deadpool song?
Deadpool song, yeah. I honestly think it's with any of these. I would have said this, a few years ago about Sam Smith and then Adele before that. It's to get the younger crowd in, and I think it's always kind of been that way because Bond has always been it's my dad's movie. I think it's of course there are younger people that like these movies. I like the Bond movies. I think everybody in our group likes the Bond movies to an extent. But
I gotta watch all of them.
You need to finish watching that at least the core group of movies.
What's the core group of movies?
You got to watch Goldfinger yet.
I know. I got to the second one. That one was rough. I'm like, oh.
I like From Russia with Love.
I've seen most of the Pierce Brosnan, about half of the Daniel Craig ones, and yeah.
Casino Royale is still I think my favorite. But
which one?
The one that's actually canon in the series,
the Daniel Craig
the
one.
Craig one. But yeah, I think this is partially to get that younger crowd in. Of course, like you said, they have been taking contemporary artists and putting them in these movies. But I think it's this last time as Bond. I think I wanted him to mix it up though. It's always been this: who's the big pop star that year? Let's get them in here. Adele, Sam Smith, Alicia Keys.
And that's where I say that's not necessarily the case because. If that were the case, Madonna came like 20 years too late.
It's still Madonna.
She's
Madonna. One of the biggest pop stars ever.
Which is probably why they grabbed her because there's nothing good this year. Here, let's go for somebody that people know.
Yeah. Do a Foo Fighters theme song. Let Foo Fighters do it once.
Chris Cornell did one.
Yeah, mix it up. Don't be so stagnant with who you have. I think Sam Smith and Adele and Billie Eilish are pretty much in the same category as far as like vocal style goes to me, and I want them to mix it up. Let Eminem do it. I don't care. Mix it up. It's Daniel Craig's last chance as Bond, so mix it up. Maybe they'll do it in the next one. I want them because I think the Bond series is getting pretty stagnant. You got to mix it up a little bit, and I don't think this is a big enough shakeup for me. But yeah, that's Billie Eilish is set to do the Bond 25 theme song.
Dun dun dun.
Let's move on to the main topic for the week, which is Bayhem 2020 Michael Bay movies. Explosions everywhere. Low shots of cars and women getting out of them.
I'm
sweating.
I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now.
For Michael Bay?
Yes, and it's
not good.
Oh, it's actually kind of painful.
All right, let's just run through. I think we'll just start at the bottom, work our way up to what we have from this past year, and we'll go from there. I think we'll kick it off with, of course, his first. Let's start off with this before we get to the filmography.
Okay.
Set up where we are as in terms of Michael Bay movies as how we feel about them. How do you feel?
I go into a Michael Bay, and this is going to be kind of regurgitated from when I made the response to Six Underground. I go into a Michael Bay movie knowing exactly what I'm going to get, and that's a Michael Bay movie. It's going to have errors. It's not going to be that well, it's not going to be a well-rounded script or whatever. I'm not going in there for the superb acting and whatnot. There's going to be continuity errors up the wazoo. But they're just good, fun movies just for the sake of their popcorn movies. Whereas like I looked at Six Underground, is it a great movie? No. But you know what? I had fun watching it. That's how I go into a Michael Bay movie.
I loathe Michael Bay. I don't know why we wanted to. I think we just got to get this out of the way.
Oh, is that why we're doing a Michael Bay episode? Just so we can say, well, we're
dumping it in January, just like Bad Boys.
But Bad Boys was good.
It from what I've heard, it's good. It's sitting up high in those Rotten Tomato score, but man, I do not like Michael Bay. I have not. So there is 3 of his movies on his list besides Six Underground that just came out this year, and I refuse to ever watch that movie. That I have not seen.
I think you're afraid you're gonna like it.
I'm afraid I will die watching it. I've seen all of his movies but 3, and from what I've heard, 2 out of those 3 are probably the better ones, but I'm scared to watch them because I've been burned, 8 times already by him. But yeah, I have one on here where I stand by. that is his best movie, period. He has never done better and probably will never do better than that movie. And we'll get to that, but I do not like Michael Bay movies. I think his style has it's become parody in the last few years especially, but I just do not like the way he directs action movies at all, because it is all nonsense. I can't comprehend anything that's happening in his movies. None of the action...
You're not supposed to.
But you are! It's a movie! You're supposed to comprehend what's happening on the screen. I just do not. There is, I think his best movie, which we'll get to, has comprehensive action, and you can figure out what's actually happening. I think the first Bad Boys has that, too. But yeah, I just do not like his characters either. I don't like the way he directs women, especially, or brings in women characters, or lack thereof. And I think his dialogue is borderline racist and horrible. I think he's a really bad human being, for once, taking the art from the artist, but from what I've heard, he's not a good dude. But yeah, I just do not like the guy. I think he has become totally full of himself, especially in the last few years. But all right, let's quit rambling. I want to get to these movies.
We're not rambling. You are.
I'll get off my soapbox for a little bit, because we're going to enter into the Michael Bay by the Michael Bay Dome. I don't know where I was going with that, but Bad Boys #1 is his first movie. Before that, he was a pretty prominent music video director, but this is his first feature film. Bad Boys, 1995. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. Bad Boys.
There is one thing that can be sort of said for the sake of his movies, and the Bad Boys is an example of that. And that is, Will Smith was not really known as an action star when Bad Boys came out. And
heck, Martin Lawrence definitely was not.
Definitely was not, but they both turned into action stars. Obviously more Will Smith than Martin Lawrence and whatnot. But Martin Lawrence still did a few, but his were more on the comedy side of his action movies, whereas Will Smith was definitely full-on action. But, he kind of helped shape and blow up the career for Will Smith. At that point he's just the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I think this was definitely during the summer
the formative years.
Yeah, the what is it? The Will Smith 4th of July movies. This is right in the thick of that.
No, that wasn't until Independence Day '96.
So the next year.
Yeah,
I think this definitely helped kick off that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think
I'm pretty sure this is what helped get him that role.
Probably, yeah.
And his slick Will Smith Fresh Prince attitude,
Big Willie style. I don't like Bad Boys, but it's one that I could watch again. I think the chemistry between the two
I did yesterday
is perfect. I think the chemistry between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith is great. It's what holds these movies together, really. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a toned down Michael Bay. You can comprehend what's happening.
Well, the part that's funny too is, again, having just rewatched I pretty much had a Bad Boys triple feature yesterday. Is I'm looking at some of the stuff for the sake of The Witness in Tia Leone, and I'm like, you know what? None of this would actually work. Like, at some point here, the captain's not gonna be like, why is the witness here? The witness does not need to be here. Like, she was like, in parts of the movie where it's like logistically the Miami PD would be like, no, you're not.
They just needed her in the movie, though.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good buddy cop movie. I think those all hinge on chemistry.
Yes.
These two have it,
Absolutely.
for sure. Yeah, and Bad Boys, it's a fun movie, but I don't love
and you know what? Honestly, for a guy this is his first feature, and you're not going to have a first feature be a knock out of the park kind of film. Right now, as it stands, it's a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 78 for an audience score. I would say for right out of the gate, you're talking mid-90s and whatnot.
And you're getting a pretty big budget action comedy movie. I think
exactly.
That's a tough place to start.
I would say I'd say that's I'd call that an achievement, actually.
With two pretty much comedy actors.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I will give him props for developing the career that he has now, starting with Bad Boys. I think that's a tough place to start definitely knocked it out of the park with the chemistry between those two guys and making them movie stars, really, out of this movie.
Oh, pretty much. I would have to agree.
All right, let's move on to his next film. His best film, in my opinion. Welcome to The Rock. 1996's The Rock. I love this movie.
Well, based on director ones, I'm just throwing this out there here for you. Based on his directing, it is his best, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Hell yeah, it is. Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris is the villain. Tony Todd's in this movie. There's a lot of people in this movie.
Tony Todd was in this movie.
Yeah, The Rock basically set up that this terrorist group takes over. What's that? Alcatraz.
Yeah. The Rock. Hence
The Rock.
The Rock.
Oh, I knew The Rock. But what's the name?
It's not like they were taking over Dwayne Johnson.
They should make a sequel to The Rock. Nicolas Cage and Dwayne Johnson together. I would watch the hell out of that movie, even if it was directed by Michael Bay. But yeah, they basically send in a scientist played by Nicolas Cage, and Sean Connery is what,
he's like
military or
he's
something
like an
that?
ex-MI6 kind of
Bond.
spy.
Bond.
Yeah, he's
old Bond.
He's a retired Bond.
Yeah, and they team up and they have to break into Alcatraz because he once broke out of Alcatraz.
Right.
I love this movie. I haven't watched it in a while. I need to rewatch it just because I do love this movie. I think it is very subdued Nicolas Cage and very over-the-top Sean Connery. And I think that, again, works tremendously well. The chemistry between the two. Ed Harris is a great villain. He has a great crew behind him. This is, I think, his most competently directed action film. And I think there is some pretty good tension and suspense, even in the beginning with Nicolas Cage trying to defuse that, it was like a chemical bomb or something like that in the opening of the movie.
And I was going to say, it's also in 96, so Nick Cage hasn't quite gone all full Nick Cage yet.
He wasn't to the crazy Nick Cage as much.
Well, no, because you figure, like, Nick Cage had this weird, like, his early stuff, like, when he was still a kid, like, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was weird. He was quirky.
He was definitely weird.
It's like when he started to pick up steam a little bit, he kind of calmed down. And then when he realized that, hey, I can still be weird and whatnot, he just went up. Then he just went off the rails.
This is... When did Con Air come out? 97, I think? Because this is right around the time of action star Nicolas Cage. Which I love that era because Nicolas Cage should not be an action star.
97, you are correct.
Nicolas Cage just does not have the build. He doesn't have what you would think is a normal action star. But you know what? The guy pulls it off every single time.
And that hair.
The hair is great in Con Air.
Yep.
The Con Air.
Con Air is actually one of the ones I would say is the very first score soundtrack that I bought because the music on that movie is completely amazing.
Con Air reminds me of a Michael Bay movie, but it's not directed by Michael Bay.
Yes, it's like
it's the best Michael Bay movie not directed by Michael Bay.
It's way out there, but it's again, it's kind of like Bad Boys for Life. It's a little dialed back. It definitely has the same earmarks, but it's not way out there.
Full Bayhem.
Because could you imagine Steve Buscemi if he would have been Michael Bay movie?
Oh no,
he would have been way out. That would have been borderline
He was already creepy. I think he would have gone full this guy's a pedophile, gross human being.
Right.
What do you think of The Rock?
I enjoy it. I've owned this movie since it came out on DVD. I don't know how many years ago. It's one of two of his films that are in the Criterion Collection. In fact, actually, I want to say, because when we were just at Last Stop here, and they actually had a copy.
They have Armageddon.
They have both Armageddon and The Rock back over at the East Side.
Oh, do they? I might have to go pick up the Criterion of The Rock.
And I think it's issue number 40 is for The Rock. So it's early in the in the collection as well.
Yes,
but I have both of those.
The Rock. Where does it rank for you? I mean, once we get to whatever your favorite Michael Bay movies is, let me know.
I honestly don't know, but we'll keep going.
Mine is definitely The Rock, but let's move on to his next filmography piece that we got here. Something between this and his next film, Armageddon. He did direct a music video for Aerosmith, which plays into Armageddon.
I think that was probably done at the same time. They're probably like, hey, we've got your kid over here. You wanna? We're
gonna have your song in our movie. I'll direct the music video for you.
Exactly. I'll do it for free.
That is 1998's Armageddon Ben Affleck, Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Armageddon,
Steve Buscemi, Michael Clark Duncan,
Miners on the Moon.
Oh my God, I'm picturing Owen Wilson. This is like the one of the the first time he'd finally be able to get I can get in a semi all-star cast. I got my great leads, I got my femme fatale, and then I can litter it with all of these B-roll.
I can get an up and coming action star, Ben Affleck. I can get maybe one of the biggest action stars of the time, Bruce Willis.
Right. I got Mr. Die Hard.
Have Aerosmith doing a song for the soundtrack.
And Aerosmith was
making a comeback.
Making a huge comeback in the late 90s.
Guys, you didn't want to miss a thing. But Armageddon, what do you think, Brian?
I don't mind it. I get why people have issues with it.
Including all the actors in the movie?
Yeah,
None of them especially your two leads. They didn't like each other, and they didn't like the movie.
Well... From what I understand,
Bruce Willis is a douche.
I was going to say,
I've heard Ben Affleck has too. So.
I was going to say, from what I hear, Bruce Willis is not exactly the easiest one to work with. But that's nor here nor there because I've never met the man. So,
Bruce, come on our show. We'd love to talk about Die Hard with you.
On your time.
Bruce Willis time.
On Bruce Willis time.
That's what we'll call the podcast, Bruce Willis time.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Armageddon.
So, yeah, I mean, it's... For the late 90s, everything was going for that whole, we're getting to the end of the year 2000 and whatnot. We're having all of these movies come out that were end of days and
Y2K style.
The world's going to end. We had Deep Impact, Armageddon, we have all these things where it's the world's going to end, blah, blah, blah. And so, Michael Bay's you want to, I got you. Hold my beer.
Hold my Bayhem beer. Armageddon is okay. I don't love it. I don't like it very much, but
it's not one of those movies where if I'm flipping channels because it's on TV all the time, where I will typically stop. I'll be like, yeah, well.
It's Armageddon.
Yeah.
I think the premise is horrendous, and very just you switch two little things around. Even Ben Affleck has said it in the commentary for this movie. Effing miners, man. Why didn't they just make them train the astronauts to become the miners? Or the drillers or whatever they were.
Because, they kind of make reference to that in the film, that the type of stuff that they would need to do, there's not enough time to train, blah, 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 I guess.
But you have enough time to train drillers to become astronauts. But not the smartest people in the world who are astronauts to become drillers.
I don't know.
That's one of the reasons I just can't get into it.
Boy, don't watch Space Cowboys by Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, probably not.
Watch a bunch of old guys that can't teach the new guys the old tech.
Yeah, that's just Clint Eastwood in a nutshell, though.
Actually, but you know what? I still love Space Cowboys.
All right, let's move on to his next film from Michael Bay here. That is his World War II film, Pearl Harbor. Also returning Ben Affleck to the cast.
Obviously, he must have liked Michael enough to be able to come back for a film.
He also probably liked that paycheck he got from it, too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Pearl Harbor, his action war epic, over 3 hour long film. This movie's horrendous.
Oh, come on. What's so bad about it?
It's a Michael Bay movie that's 3 hours long. It is.
So you're saying it would be better if it was a Scorsese movie?
I don't know. This is just a melodramatic, kind of insensitive war film from Michael Bay. I think Josh Hartnett is really bad. Ben Affleck's not very good. Kate Beckinsale is also not. None of the actors are good. None of them have chemistry with each other. I think it's Ben Affleck's the one that returns from the dead, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's just cheesy as all hell.
Here's my question, because we've seen outstanding performances by those three people you've already said here. How much can be said for it being the directing? How much can be said that maybe the writing wasn't there? That sort of thing. That maybe the performances are hinged on what they're given to work with and whatnot. And so maybe Josh Hartnett isn't as bad as it's because of, again, what he was working with.
They had a pretty good. I think they had a pretty good writer on this, though. He did write Braveheart and We Were Soldiers. So but I also don't think it's a very good script myself. But I think it's just, why do we need to take a Michael Bay? Because this is really the first movie where it becomes Bayhem.
Where he kind of starts going off the rails a little bit.
A lot of it in this one.
Well, when you're like, I'm going to make a movie about Pearl Harbor, one of the biggest tragedies of American history, and I'm
going to kind of make a gross exploitation action movie.
I have to make things blow up, so they're going to give me all the squibs and C4 that I need to be able to make shit blow up.
Yeah, I don't want to stick on Pearl Harbor. This is the first one I ever watched because it was the only Michael Bay movie we had in our house growing up, was Pearl Harbor.
I think everybody owned Pearl Harbor, though.
Just like Titanic, you all had Titanic, the two VHS set. You had Pearl Harbor as well.
I did have that.
Yeah, I as a kid, I was bored, extremely bored by it because it's a melodramatic romance movie. Second half of it, pretty much.
Right.
And now looking at it, I think it's a gross exploitation style of like you said, a huge American tragedy, and you put Michael Bay in the director's seat to direct that happening.
Right.
That doesn't sit well with me. Another movie that doesn't sit well with me, Bad Boys 2.
Really?
Yeah, really. I don't like Bad Boys 2. 2003's Bad Boys 2, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, Big Willie style, return to the franchise 8 years after the original, and it's not any better. I know a lot of people love Bad Boys 2, even more than the first. I think the first is an okay mid-90s action movie. I think the second one is just a horrendous Bayhem garbage movie with a great chemistry between the two leads and a horrible script with characters I just really do not like in this. I like the chemistry between the actors. Do not like the characters in this movie. I think they are pretty terrible human beings.
It definitely...
I know I soured it for you after me and maybe Blake
you
or whoever.
And Blake. I'm pretty sure it was Blake.
Maybe. Definitely was me.
It wasn't that you necessarily soured it. It's just that, I'm rewatching the film and whatnot, and all of the jokes and everything like that, as everything comes about, I remember. I'm like, oh, yep, I remember that. But it was a lot of when you guys start to bring up the respect of like the race card that they play, the homosexuality and stuff like that. I sit there and I'm like, I see it more clearly now. Like there is a specific scene in Bad Boys 2 that where they're in a Carl's, a Best Buy kind of thing, just a local electronic store. Yeah. And I mean that entire scene was probably completely not necessary, and it's already an over 2 hour movie. I mean, that's an easy 10-15 minutes they probably could have cut out of the movie, and it would not have hindered it at all. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, it's this stuff he was talking about. Now I see it. But I mean, as for someone who's owned those movies for as long as I have, sometimes you just need a little bit of that refresher. Sometimes you need that little bit of that outside input, and you're like, okay, I get it. I still enjoy the movies because, again, they're the sake of a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
I'm just there for the explosions. I'm in there for the Michael Bay, style, basically. But after the fact, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it on this one.
It's a little rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we move on past Bad Boys?
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm going to be more negative. 2005's The Island. Have you ever seen The Island?
Yes, it has been a long while, and right now, unless you buy or rent it, there's no place to stream it.
I've seen bits of it it used to be on TV all the time. I only ever saw bits of it. Never really interested me that much. I haven't heard very many positive things. It's definitely, I think, the most forgotten Michael Bay movie out of his entire filmography.
I would have to completely agree.
And I don't know if that's warranted or not. I'm not really sure.
Right, exactly, because you figure you got Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, who got relatively good names behind them, and you would just think that...
Scarlett Johansson was definitely coming up at the time as
yeah, exactly.
The big Hollywood actress, the next big thing.
I was kind of in shock when I went to be like, the only place that I could stream it if I had the subscription was, I think, like Cinemax or something like that. I'm like, really? I mean...
It's probably in the $3 bargain bin at Walmart, but...
Maybe, but, you know.
You have to dig through garbage to find it, just like Michael Bay's filmography.
Ow, ouch.
Yeah, the island. I've heard it's a more subdued Michael Bay than usual. Is what I've heard. I've heard it kind of lies down on the script. That's why no one remembers it. I'm looking at the IMDb. It's 4 writing credits on it. It's, that's never really a good sign for a movie, having that many people in the writing seat on it.
What?
But this leads into the Michael Bay Transformers era. I think we'll just knock all...
The era?
The era.
There is no in-between outside of when Bumblebee showed up, and that was after the era was done.
Yeah, it was definitely done. So should we just knock all the Transformers movies out here together?
Well, I can say I've seen all but The Last Night.
I have not seen The Last Night either. I've seen all the other ones. So let's start Transformers 1.
I would like to point out, too, if I remember correctly, The Last Night is also the worst rated Anthony Hopkins film ever.
Yeah. So the first Transformers, 2007, Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox. It's not very good.
No, but it kind of stems into what I was saying before about, unknowns, people launching careers off Michael Bay. This is another one of those examples. Nobody knew who Shia LaBeouf was. Nobody knew who Megan Fox was.
I knew who Shia LaBeouf was. Even Stevens, bro.
Nobody cares about Even Stevens and Holes.
Holes still rules. No, everybody cares about Holes.
Okay,
if they
so
don't, they should.
Let me rephrase.
He was still in the Disney Star.
Well, right.
Yes,
it allowed Shia to shed the Disney a la like Zac Efron kind of thing. Yep. He finally was able to find that vehicle that says, you know what?
Vehicle?
I'm not the... That was not intended.
But yes, this is definitely him breaking out of that Disney mold a little bit. And I think he's really given nothing to do from what we have now know Shia LaBeouf and what he can do as an actor.
He's definitely capable of.
Yeah, he's given nothing to do in the 3 Transformers movies he's in. Megan Fox is bad in these movies. I think that's no surprise to anyone who's ever seen her in these movies that she's not very good in this. You can tell this is one of her first acting gigs, as a model turned actor. She's gotten better. She's definitely gotten better in the last while. Even in this era, she was better in Jennifer's Body than she ever was in the Transformers movies.
Okay, I can ask a stupid question. What has she done since Jennifer's Body?
She was in the Ninja Turtles movies. She's not great now, but she's doing it. She's better than the Transformers movies. She hasn't done very much since.
Okay, I forgot about Turtles, but you're correct. She's better in Turtles than she was in Transformers.
But I think if you give her the right material, I think she could pull it off now.
You think so?
I think so. I think she has it in her.
You a la like Kristen Stewart type of stuff. In terms of given the right material and if she's got the chops for it, that she could potentially pull it off.
Yeah, given the right material, Jennifer's Body, the right director, I think she can pull it off. But yeah, the Transformers movies did not show that off. This was just, she was a model. Michael Bay put her in his movies.
Yeah.
And
then he took her out when she started flaming him on the internet.
I don't blame her for doing that either.
You think that's the case? All right, so you're not in the third one. Check.
Yeah, I'll get a different model. These movies suck.
And how they've progressively, their ratings have dipped all the way down. I think it was like 12 or 15%, whatever, for The Last Night.
I will 15. Say, so the first Transformers I find terribly boring and just, I don't care about it because it really focuses on Shia LaBeouf and he's really boring in these movies. The second one is horrendous garbage nonsense. And then the third one, I think I like the best out of them all just because it's like literally just Transformers fighting. I'm like, cool, do it. There is some bad stuff with what's the new model he brought in?
Rose.
Oh yeah, whatever her name. Yeah, it's Hutch, whatever her name was. Yeah, the one from Mad Max. She's better in Mad Max.
I will. She's way better in Mad Max. I will say this much though is the first Transformers movie, along with that same time frame of Avatar, were the 2 movies that made me have a different appreciation for 3D in theater, and that knowing what can be used as depth and experience versus just throwing shit at you at the screen, a la like Saw 3D. Yeah. Avatar and Transformers made me understand what good 3D was, And Saw 3D made me realize what bad 3D was.
I've never seen Transformers in 3D. I don't think I could because
the very first one is the one that I saw in 3D.
Okay. All the action in these movies though is nonsense to me. I understand nothing that's happening except there's explosions and metal things clanging into each other.
Right.
And that is the worst example. I have not seen The Last Night. It might be worse than that one. Age of Extinction.
According to the rating scores, it is.
It is? I'm never going to watch it.
It's 15. It's the lowest rated one.
Age of Extinction. I remember vividly that me and my buddies were excited for this one because we're like, okay, the other ones suck, but this one has bringing in the Transformers dinosaurs.
Yep, the Dinobots.
And I'm like, hell yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Don't they show up for like the last 15 minutes?
Of this 3-hour-long movie. This movie I got physically ill watching. Because it was so much nonsense going on the screen. It was just sensory overload for me. I almost had to leave the movie because I was getting sick watching it. It is also terribly boring. Like, I got to a point where I'm like, I'm just so bored, I'm going to start counting the explosions. And after 50, I'm like, I can't count anymore. We're only 30 minutes in.
Did you run out of fingers and toes?
I ran out of fingers and toes, and my head started to hurt.
You got a lot of fingers and toes.
I have 50 of them, to be exact. This movie is, Age of Extinction is a stinker. It sucks.
I want to say that I saw the first Transformers in the theater. I'm pretty sure I saw Dark of the Moon. But after that, I don't think I saw any of them up until when Bumblebee came out, which obviously is not a Bay movie. It's just by then it was starting to lose steam for me. And I'm a kid of the 80s, where, I didn't have a lot of Transformers growing up because, well, Transformers were expensive. Mm-hmm. But, this is...
I only ever had the McDonald's Happy Meal Transformers. That's all I ever got.
Yeah, I had those too.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm hoping that, that Paramount has corrected the ship in per se and with Bumblebee and that we're going to have a non-Bay directed Transformers universe, because though these movies have not been that great, they have definitely made Paramount money.
They made a lot of
money. So Paramount is doing something to try to follow up Bumblebee. Mm-hmm. Being that we're already 2 years out, I imagine we got something coming in the pipeline here, hopefully soon. Maybe that has to do with the whole Hawkeye thing and Haley Steinfeld. We don't know. Yeah. But I'm all for looking for a new Bumblebee movie or an extension of that universe.
Yeah, I think we got to keep going with that. Transformers I think it can still be the profitable franchise that it definitely is, mm-hmm. while also being something better, more than Bayhem. Let's move on from Transformers. The next film we got, so we did the Transformers, the first film 2007, the sequel 2009, and the third film 2011. That brings us to 2013, Pain and Gain, The Rock, Mark Wahlberg. Have you seen Pain and Gain?
I did.
Yeah? I've not.
And I understand that it is loosely based on a true story.
How much can Michael Bay do a true story, though?
Well, enough that the family of the guy that gets kidnapped in the movie was trying to sue them because of basically like inflammatory kind of things and whatnot. But again, it probably kind of falls under the whole idea of, if you're going to make an over-the-top movie, you're going to do this and blah, blah, blah. Who better to do it with than a Michael Bay, because that's what you're going to get. And The Rock is like, yeah, I can do that. Mark Wahlberg's, yeah. Tony Shalhoub, hey, why not, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that we've got Tony Shalhoub in a Michael Bay movie is just hilarious in general.
Yeah, I've not seen this movie, but I think having The Rock in a Michael Bay movie might kind of add a little sweetness to the sour that is Michael Bay movies.
I think you would be correct there. I mean, there definitely is that inflection of, really?
If anyone can pull it,
did you have to do it that way?
But if anyone can pull it off, it's The Rock. It's the people's champ.
And there is a scene in Pain and Gain where The Rock is basically like, I don't remember what it is, and it's all done by accident, but it's almost like he's coked out of his mind, and he goes just off the wall bonkers. And you're just sitting here going, okay, that's hilarious. Like, you're so used to this Steen, literally The Rock that is the Dwayne Johnson. You're like, okay, that is hilarious. Because you figure he really wasn't doing a whole lot of comedy. I mean, he had like Be Cool in there and whatnot, but This was kind of The Rock's foray into like a buddy comedy action movie. And The Rock, I enjoyed
like this. Maybe his first return to R-rated movie since like the early 2000s, with like the Be Cool era, the Walking Tall, that era of The Rock. I think this is his first time coming back to that. Really,
could be.
Yeah, I think that Mark Wahlberg and The Rock should probably work together a little more. I think they work really well together in the couple of films that they've done.
Well, that's just it. The films that they've done together, and the fact that they both definitely hinge on like that action kind of thing. I think it would be great. I would love to see those two work again together.
Let's make The Rock 2 with Mark Wahlberg and The Rock.
I'm okay with that. I don't know. Oh, and make Dwayne Johnson be the tech geek.
And Nicolas Cage.
Make him the tech geek?
Yep.
No, I don't want Nick Cage back. I just want...
Oh, I need Nick Cage back. They're breaking Sean Connery out of Alcatraz this time. It's Sean Connery's return.
Sean Connery?
All right, so then we had Pain and Gain 2013, Age of Extinction. Mark Wahlberg's back with Michael Bay in this one, 2014. He's not good in that movie. I think we can all agree in that.
For painting... What?
For Age of Extinction, Marky Mark and the
Funky Bunch.
The not so funky bunch. Then we get to 13 Hours. This is where we get a little bit of change in the Michael Bay filmography. 2016. It's the film that proved John Krasinski can be an action star. Jim from The Office can pull it off.
But the Jim in The Office can be an action star and is still not the best rated movie he's ever done.
No, that would be the one he directed. Yeah. But yeah, this is the one in the... So I have never seen 6 Underground, 13 Hours, or Pain and Gain in the Island. And 13 Hours is the one I would want to see the most out of those three. Just because I've heard it's the least Michael Bay out of the Michael Bay movies. Mm-hmm.
And it's Krasinski going that if my wife can be an action star, well, shoot, so can I.
I can do it too. And it was also another January release that got better reviews than usual January releases do. Have you seen 13 Hours?
No, I have. And again, it stems into the whole, like what you said here. It's one of those ones that I never got around to watching, but I would totally watch it.
Yeah.
Side note here is that, the critics didn't like it at 51%, but the audience is at 82%.
51 is not bad for Michael Bay movies, though.
No, it's definitely not bad for Michael Bay.
All right. Transformers: The Last Night, 2017. We have not seen it, and I don't think either of us ever will or want to.
We really don't care.
We don't care. Then we get to this last year's 6 Underground. 2019, his first foray into Netflix films. I don't know if his partnership's going to continue, but after the amount of viewers that they got for 6 Underground, I think they'll probably bring back Michael Bay for a little while.
Maybe
at Netflix. You saw 6 Underground.
I did.
Yeah.
And I stand by what I said before. Is you go into a Michael Bay movie, you're not going to get a great movie, but you're getting a popcorn movie that is just an off-the-wall bonkers. It was Ryan Reynolds. Without spoiling the movie, there's one particular character that doesn't make it through the entire movie that actually kind of made me sad because I enjoyed having him in the movie. But other than that, like, again, everybody who is in that movie, big name, slightly littler name, whatever you want to say, they probably did it because they're like, I can make a over-the-top Michael Bay movie where it looks like he had a blank check that was written to him by Netflix. And why wouldn't you? I mean, like Corey Hawkins, who was getting, he started picking up steam when he played Heath on The Walking Dead. He was on the revival for 24. He's been in a few things and whatnot, and you'd be like,
was he in Straight Outta Compton?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, he's starting to pick up a name for himself, and you're just like, hey, Michael Bay wants to make an action.
Sure.
Where's the check,
Yeah.
Dave Franco, if I always mess her up, is Melanie Larnett. That was in Glorious Bastards. Just overall, I mean, again, it's one of those things that say, hey, Ryan Reynolds, do you want to be in a Ryan Reynolds Michael Bay movie? Who's going to be like, no, I'm gonna be in a movie where things are gonna blow up, and Ryan Reynolds is gonna be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
With the side note of, here is your aviation gin promo for all about like 5 seconds. Like the flash of that was hilarious.
Oh, me. We haven't even talked about the horrible product placement in Michael Bay movies. Woof. Oh, Age of Extinction, I think, has the worst one for me, where Mark Wahlberg is like in the middle of a fight and like a Budweiser truck flips over. He picks up a Bud Light, pops off the cap, and takes a big swig out of it with the label like pointing to the camera. I'm like, F this movie.
And you know what the part that's funny is? I don't think that's a Bay thing. I think that is that for the sake of the Transformers movies, for the sake of marketing and selling, and because that's what Transformers is basically built off of. That was all studio.
But the fact he does it so blatantly though.
But what I'm saying is, like, for
instance, then he does it in Six Underground. I'm like, ugh.
Because I don't remember. Like the aviation gin was just literally like a quick shot. Like nothing was done. It was on the counter or whatever the case is. But like I don't remember what Transformers movie it was. But they were doing a promo with Transformers with Xbox 360. And I think it was the first one or whatever, but the Allspark is going off. So all of these, like the pop machine, the Mountain Dew pop machine, and the Xbox like truck or whatever. Mm-hmm. So there's literally Xboxes running around as little machines and whatnot. I'm like, everything that literally just turned into a machine right there is everything that they're doing product placement.
That is financing this movie for them.
Exactly. So I think for the sake of the Transformers movies, I swear that's all Paramount. It's all.
But every movie has product placement, but there is subtlety to it when you use it. Michael Bay is just gross when he uses it. It's so blatant.
But maybe that's Michael Bay's way of saying, I got to do this. I don't want to do this. Here. Okay, done. Move on to the next shot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which kind of actually would be, I would be kind of be like, oh, is that why? Yes. Okay, you just want to do it to get the studios happy and move on. Okay.
Yeah, I just think he doesn't know how to do it. But yeah, that's the Michael Bay directed films. Brian, now that we've gone through them all, what do you have as a favorite one?
Oh, you're killing me here, Smalls. I know yours is The Rock.
It's The Rock.
It is The Rock, and The Rock is such a good movie.
I mean, you can pick The Rock too. I think that's a good choice.
It is a good choice.
Welcome to The Rock.
Welcome. I kind of wish Rotten Tomatoes would put like both scores.
The Rock has maybe my favorite quote ever.
Welcome to The Rock.
No, not Welcome to The Rock. Good thing we have the explicit thing on here, but Sean Connery basically says, winners go home and fuck the prom queen. I love that line so much.
Because you don't expect something like that to come out of Bond.
Sean Connery. You know, you don't. Winners go home.
But at least we know this.
What do you got?
I'm gonna go with The Rock.
Yeah.
Something that is it's a pretty solid film, no pun intended. It definitely wasn't the movie that made Sean Connery quit acting. That's a whole different thing. Yeah. But again, I also, like I said, I go into Michael Bay movies with the expectation of it is exactly what they are, and I'm not going to get a high level amazing wish. I'm gonna get a bunch of like Bayhem exploding things, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments of this video, or if you're listening on the podcast service, let us know on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram what your favorite Michael Bay movie is. Let us know what is your favorite. Are you a Michael Bay fan, or are you on my team and just don't like his films? I don't know. Let us know in the comments or on our social media channels. With that being said, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, just simply at Backlot605. That's the easiest way to find us. Also, check us out on Backlot605.com. You can find all our latest movie news, reviews, discussions, articles, anything Backlot 605 related is on our website, Backlot605.com. And we need to plug what we got coming up here. You can check out the Killer Countdown. We have 2 new episodes of that out right now. We did our best of the decade as well as the best of 2019. So both of those episodes are out right now. The best of the decade is a little special episode where we take out the Killer Countdown rules and we each just give our top 10 favorite films of the decade.
You broke the rules of your countdown?
We broke our rules of our own game because it's what we can do.
We can do it because I said so.
Because we said so. You can check out our film buddies, Andy from Fat Dude Digs Flicks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Corey Jacobson from Somewhat Random Movie Collection on Instagram. And please check out our TeePublic store. We got some awesome T-shirts, some stickers. Stickers right there on Brian's laptop. Go buy those and check them out. They're very good. Like the material on this stuff, though, I'm serious. Like, I'm not saying it just because we're trying to sell it. Material on it's really good.
Actually, no, the T-shirts are very comfortable.
The T-shirts are comfortable.
The sweatshirt that I have,
the sticker I have, I put it on my water bottle, and I've washed the water bottle, once a week. Mm-hmm. It hasn't faded or peeled off.
No, it's
a sticker.
Right.
I'm like, that's awesome.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good high quality sticker here, and
yeah, go check those out right now on our TeePublic website. You can just find that on our merch tab on backlot605.com. And lastly, you can check out this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. And then next week, this is the big event we've all been waiting for. We've been anticipating it for the last 2-3 months. Is what it seems like. I think we've been talking about it since then. This is our live...
what are we talking about again?
I don't remember. This is our live podcast. January 26th at Last Stop Studios, Last Stop CD Shop, East Side, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 3 to 5 p.m. Come on down. It's a free event. We're going to be giving away prizes, 2 $25 Last Stop CD Shop gift cards, some movie codes, posters, beer. We're not giving away the beer, but you can buy beer.
I was like, when are we giving away beer?
We're not giving away. I'll drink all the beer before we give it away. But yeah, they'll sell beer there. Why not? Come on down. It's going to be a fun show.
And if you think about it, if they come down to see the show, they get to see it and experience it before it comes on social media.
Yeah, so you're going to be checking out. Literally, it's going to be live. You're going to be there in the audience, checking us out, talking about us, rambling about the top 20 movies of the decade.
Watch Blake and I fumbling through everything.
We got it. You can go check out it. We just shot a promo last night as we're recording this at Last Stop Studios. That was a ton of fun, hyping up this video and hyping up our live show.
Should we have made Andy the hype man? Oh my God.
He definitely hyped us up. He went all 80s cocaine-fueled Hulk Hogan on us. It was great.
It was. You didn't have to stand next to him as he was going off.
We had to calm him down. Oh, it was so much fun though.
Next time, I just need to have like a barb so I can come on and bring it down a little bit.
Calm down. But yeah, if you saw that promo, that's what we're going to bring to the show. Maybe not all of us, definitely Andy, but not all of us. I think we're going to bring the insight and our knowledge of films that we love and want to share with other people. So once again, January 26th, Last Stop Studios, east side of South Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 3 to 5 p.m. Show up. Come hang out with us. If anything, come hang out. We're going to hang out after the show. We'll talk to you about movies. We'll go shopping with you. We want to find some of these movies and share our love of the best movies of the decade.
Yeah.
All right. So that is it. That is next week's show. So, Brian, until then, this has been the Backlot 605 podcast.
It has. Are you sure?
I think so. I think that's what we've done.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah. But anyway, check us out next time on the Backlot of South Dakota.